Hello, my name is Agnes. This is Sizwe podcast. Today in our studios, we have a very important personality, and I am so proud to introduce her. She's Olga Loggale. Olga is the doctor of dentistry students, and you know why I am so proud to have her in my studio. Welcome, Olga.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey.
Excited to be here.
People, I am an immigrant. If I see a lady like that, I feel like flying. Olga, what's your story? How did you end up becoming a doctor? Now I feel comfortable coming to your hospital. Yes. Tell me.
It's a long-winded story. I mean, I think in school, one, it started obviously with my parents. As an immigrant parent.
Yes.
You are on them all the time. You will be a lawyer. You will be an engineer.
An architect, engineer.
Yeah. So I had a lot of encouragement from my parents my entire educational career, to always strive. And I kind of decided come high school that healthcare was for me. I really appreciated a lot of the aspects of healthcare, like especially the aspect of patients, because I'm very much a people person. I love meeting new people. Yes. I meet new people every day. I will talk to anyone and everyone. So I really appreciated that. So of course, medicine, like a medical doctor, physician, was a possibility. But then I shadowed some in high school, and I tried to reach out to some and see what they're about, do some research. And it just wasn't for me. Really? Some of the things really grossed me out. I was like, I don't want to, in all honesty, I was like, I don't really want to deal with that all the time. So for a while I didn't know what to do. And I know when I graduated high school, I was on the fence about dentistry. But one of the things that I kind of realized and pushed me more towards dentistry was the fact that not only people in my family, but people in my community at large and the community I came from, which was largely immigrant people or immigrant families, dentistry was neglected.
Yes. Yeah. I've never been to a dentist, trust me.
And you're not the first the first adult I've met who's of African descent who hasn't been to the dentist, right? And to me, this was just interesting because I was fortunate enough to learn about the importance of dentistry, but I knew even with my history, I could count on one hand by the time that I finished high school how many times I'd been to the dentist. Yeah. And I knew a big part of it was how expensive it is. And a lot of immigrant families or just minority communities, those who, you're struggling just to eat every day, right?
Let alone think about putting your child. I was going to bring that up. For us immigrants, we tend to shy away, although we encourage our kids to go for the best. If I'm thinking of my daughter becoming a doctor or a dentist or engineering, the first thought that comes into my mind, how much would it cost?
Yes.
And that alone pushed me back.
Yes.
So you had the interest, you had your parents or your family encouraging you, you see the need in the community. Like you said, I told you, I have never been to dentist until I came to Canada. I was 34 years, 15 years ago. I have never been to a dentist. But when my daughter was born here, she was put through that system. And that's how I ended up at the dentistry department. Yeah. So were you able to bridge all these costs, the financial, the scary part of the finances to finally get your feet into it?
I won't beat around the bush. I'm going to be in debt for a while. That's the reality of it. Yes. But obviously we're thinking long-term, something like dentistry, medicine, whatever the professional career might be, it will sustain you long-term. And so the first thing was acknowledging that and being okay, I just have to put myself into that debt to get to a better place. But of course, for those of us who are fortunate enough to experience the education system here, there are a lot of financial resources in Alberta, especially. Alberta has they're really good.
I need you to go deep into that. One time I was talking to one lady in our church, and she said, "How old is your daughter?" And I said, "She's 17. She's almost finishing high school." And she said, "What does she want to do?" And I said, "Oh, she wants to do this." And he said, "Oh, let her get into medicine." I'm like, "Hey, don't get there." And he said, "No. there are resources.
They are.
But I
There
think
are.
because most of us are immigrants and we are ignorant about those resources.
Yes,
So I would like you to elaborate more to our listeners. If you are listening to me, guys, I'm talking to Olga Loggale. She is a doctor of dentistry student, the only black doctor student right now if you walk into the sea of doctors. And I am so proud of her. She is our poster daughter. I think we need a big poster to put her on. The only black student in our community. And I am so proud of her. But if your daughter is showing that much interest and you think you don't have the resources, Olga is going to help us to look at those resources and see if it is possible that we can also encourage our daughters.
Yeah. For sure. So the first thing in Alberta, like, because for a lot of these programs, you're going to have to do an undergrad. And of course, undergrad also costs money. It's certainly not as expensive, but student loans, student loans, just apply for them. And for many students, if you, once you're past a certain point, I think after a year and a half, they consider you no longer a dependent of your parent.
Yes.
So you become qualified for grants from the government.
So there's a difference between student loans, which I encourage my daughter to shy away from student loan, to tell you the truth.
Of course.
Because I'm thinking, okay, if it is just about 5,000 or 6,000, why don't I pay for it instead of putting you through that?
Yeah.
So you get a student loan, and you say after undergrads,
within undergrad. So for me, my first year of university, I forgive me for not knowing the specific logistics, but I think it's either once you reach a certain age or once you're a year and a half into university, you become qualified. If you're under a certain income bracket, you become qualified for grants. And these grants you don't have to pay back.
Okay, I like that one.
Yeah. Oh, we all want that one. So these grants are phenomenal. So you will have student loans, but the grants are extra money for your education.
And it sustains you instead of thinking that, I'm taking this much loan and it becomes
it'll
a burden.
Decrease it. Yeah.
It will decrease. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So let's find out, guys. We don't have all the information. So don't get scared that your daughter is going to do medicine or engineering or law, and as a result, it's so expensive that, just go and do this and let's get by with. No, there's opportunity. She said there's grants. And then if you find out the information, please encourage them. Why am I using the word daughter? Because today Olga is a daughter, but I'm being biased. If your children want to go into this kind of programs, please just encourage them and don't be like me.
Yeah. And beyond that, I mean, for me anyways, I made it a point both in high school and throughout my undergrad degree to, one, keep my grades up, and two, get involved in the community. So I've been volunteering for things since I was like 12 years old.
Look at that.
Again, it's just part of me being a people person.
Yes, and that is how I got to get her to come into
each other. Exactly.
Yeah, it is the volunteering.
Yeah.
I think I am going to let you spend some time encouraging our youth that it is not just about keeping the academics, keeping the grades. Yeah, it's about taking part in the community where you are coming back into work.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that is, that's twofold. One, of course, the experiences and the people that you get to meet. Like the amount of amazing people I've met just by taking the opportunity to volunteer in something that I otherwise wouldn't have, or just being like, you know what, just do it. It's one day. And then that opens up other opportunities.
Yes.
People are like, well, you want to do this. Well, I know this connection and and obviously I'm not trying to use people for connections, but I'm just saying by putting yourself out there and getting involved in your community, you never know what can happen. You never know what can happen. And then the other thing is scholarships. I'm fortunate enough. I think now between undergrad and my first year of dentistry, I am at like 8 scholarships.
Hey.
Yeah. And they're not all very big. Like, don't get me wrong, but it adds up.
It adds up. Even if it's 200 or 500 or 1,000. Yes.
And most of them are like minimum 1,000. I had one that I received in my last year of university that paid for my last year of university. And what that did was now I can focus more on school because I don't have to worry as much about working.
Yes, yeah. Take a nice shift.
Just to work. And then I was also able to take on a larger volunteer role because I didn't have to work so much. So,
very good.
And I know that that's a huge burden for a lot of lower income students. They have to work. I worked my entire undergrad. I worked weekends when I was in school, and in the summer I would work full time every single year. I know that that's a struggle. I understand it. It is unfortunate. It sucks, but we need to do it. That's the reality of it. But then the other side to that is these scholarships, and a lot of people don't apply for these scholarships. They don't know about them. They don't know about them.
Yes,
I would spend time every year looking for scholarships.
That's very good.
Yeah. And then some of them were like, for example, like the U of A, and I think McEwen as well. I imagine that Concordia, NAIT, whatever post-secondary you choose to go to, they have other scholarship options. And it's phenomenal. Like it's on their website, and if you keep your grades up, like you automatically qualify. You're at a certain GPA. There was one scholarship, Jason Lang, I'm sure a lot of Alberta students are familiar with it. I got it every single year just for keeping my
GPA. Grades up.
You know what I'm saying? So there are a lot, like the scholarships minimize the amount of loans I had to take. And on top of that, of course, I want to say I was, again, privileged enough to be able to live at home. So this does largely go for like Alberta residents, or if you're watching somewhere else and you're going to university in the same city that you're from, and your parents are able to support you. Like, so
stay at home. Don't run around when you 10.
Stay at home as long as possible. Absolutely. Hey, especially in this economy, like that was definitely a privilege and something that I'll never forget. Like just being able to have the support of my parents, continued support of my parents, was really quite amazing. And so through student loans, the grants, and applying for scholarships, I was able to keep my debt at minimum.
Thank you so much. So guys, this is Olga Loggale. She is a doctor of dentistry student at U of A. And today I brought her to our studio, Sizwe podcast studio, because I want her to encourage our parents that it is not that scary to encourage our children to go for courses like this. Although we want it, when we think about the financial part, we just shy away. She talked much about the loan, the grant, and scholarship. Keep your grades up.
Yes.
You keep saying undergrad.
Yes.
So can you take us through the journey of becoming a full dentist?
Yes.
Yeah, so that those who are listening to us will know how many years they have to spend if they want to go for a wedding.
Yes.
So they don't say they stay in school forever.
No. So my journey through university to officially become a dentist will be 8 years. However,
8 years. Guys, it's 8 years.
8 is like the maximum. I guess not the maximum. Some people do undergrad in 5 years. But you can, for dentistry anyways, you can get in after your second year of undergrad. So it could be a 6-year journey, a 7-year journey, or an 8-year journey.
Okay, so
whatever
after high school,
yes,
you take how many years for your undergrad?
4 years.
4 years.
4 years.
And then you go straight into the dentistry specialization.
No, I took a year off after I graduated university, and then now I just finished my first year of dentistry.
So those who want to take it straight off, you after high school, you finish your first degree.
Yes.
That is the undergrad, right?
Undergrad, yeah.
Okay, that is the 4 years.
Yes.
And then you have another 4 years
in dentistry.
In dentistry.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
It's flying.
Yeah,
I mean, undergrad, blink of an eye.
And you are getting scholarships. Yeah. You're getting grants. and your parents are so proud of you.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm trying to pull some of the information from her so that when we want to go, we know what we're getting our feet into. Yeah. So now you've spoken about the financial part, which is not that scary as I thought. Now you're looking at the timeline, finish your high school. Okay, what about grade levels? Can you explain a little bit about what grade they should be able to have by the time they finish the grade 12 to be able to, not like, I need to go and do Central High or upgrade. What are the grade level 2?
Actually, I did go to Center High because I didn't know what I wanted to do. So
very good.
I didn't take calculus.
And today you are here to tell them so that they don't have to.
It's okay. Like, that is not the end of the world.
Okay.
For me, it was more important that I figured out what I wanted to do before I started spending money that I didn't really have.
Yes, yeah.
So I knew to myself, if I go into university uncertain and I end up changing and extending my degree, it's going to cost me more than if I just take the time to figure out what I want to do.
Yes.
Mature, that was a huge thing.
Yes.
And just experience life, really. So I did go to Center High, which is, if you don't know, it's like an upgrading center. And I took calculus and I took physics. Because I didn't have time for those in high school, in all honesty. Because I was doing everything else in high school. So, but I mean, in high school, like, just keep your grades high enough to get into the program that you want.
How
like, you
high?
have to think
Yeah, like you say high enough, like that's I can take education. Maybe the requirement is, let's say, 65, 75 grade level. But when you're going to do the program that you did, at what level? Like,
so what for dentistry itself? So for speaking dentistry, only your university grades matter. But if you're speaking high school, that's to get into university. Yeah, but of course you need to take the university courses, and you need to get into university.
So the 4 years that you will be finishing to enter into the dentistry, your grade has to be accepted at the dentistry level.
Yes, but your university grades. And like those
it has to
have
be science, or the science subjects, math or biology.
Yeah, so they have prerequisition courses. They have changed, they've actually made them easier. Oh. So when I was applying, all those years ago, when I first started deciding, I want to start applying for dentistry, I had to take physics. So I had to take 2 physics. They don't have that anymore.
Oh, that's good.
Count your blessings.
Guys, it's getting easier.
It's getting easier.
So some of us can also get into
it. It's getting easier, because physics was certainly a slightly more difficult course. But yeah, so there's like intro-level chem, intro-level bio, organic chemistry. You have to take, I think, 2 English courses. What else might there be? They might have changed it and included something else. I think you have to take like 6 credits worth of a social science, which would be 2 courses. I took a lot of courses
and she got into it. Guys,
I took a lot of courses.
This is Olga. She's learning very soon to become a doctor. She is a doctor taking dentist, and one day we will go into her clinic.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yes.
Excited for that. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
I want to bring you back home.
Okay.
We just touched on something about immigrant and oral health.
Yes.
We don't care. I'm telling you, I am an immigrant, and I'm using that word. How important is our oral health for us as immigrants? That now that you have taken this program and you love the community, what message do you have for us?
First, I just want to double back on the we don't care, because I understand what you're saying, but I think that lack of concern does not stem from, I just don't care. It's all about, I don't have time.
To go.
I don't
see
have the
a
resources.
Doctor.
Yes, yeah. So I just want to acknowledge that, because I think that a lot of people forget that, and they're like, well, why don't these people take care of their teeth? They don't have the capacity to do so. Part of it is education. So now that I have had the privilege to become educated in it, I think that it's my responsibility to communicate this to my community over and over and over. And I know it's going to take forever.
This is the platform.
Yeah, I know it's going to take forever for people to start believing, but hopefully once they start seeing people who look like them, they're like, okay, maybe I need to listen, right?
I need to listen.
So that's part of the plan. But man, oral health is just so important. At the worst, it can lead to your demise, because our mouth is just so close to our brain.
I never thought about that.
It can. And there are stories of an oral infection leading to death. So unfortunately it happens. Obviously, on the better side of things, you can get a cavity. But then again, cavities affect your ability to eat. Yes. Now your nutrition's down. If you can't afford to get the cavity filled, you can't eat certain foods. Yes. You start losing weight. Your health goes down. It just spirals and spirals. Another instance of this, like if you're unable to care for your teeth, or you don't have the capacity, whatever the case might be, you might eventually lose your teeth, right? They're going to have to extract them.
No.
So, and then we know that, your teeth, from a superficial standpoint, your teeth are so important to just the way you look, even.
Yes, yeah.
People are not able to get jobs because their smiles are not, what I'm saying?
People.
So it's even just like there's your health side, but there is the side of your entire well-being is affected because of what is happening in your mouth.
Yes.
So it's so important to take care of your health, and it does start at home. You can't do all of it at home, which is why it's important to go to the dentist as often as you can. And I know it doesn't.
Listening to you, it makes me feel like, okay, we've lost one of our own, because in my country, we don't do that.
No, Agnes, in my house, in my house, and that's what I mean by I know. Now I feel like it's my role to communicate this, and I can sympathize and I can empathize. but I know, now that I know better, I have to do better. Now that I know better, I have to communicate
that.
Yeah, I have to tell people about it. No. I know.
But back home, all I do is take the chewing stick or the toothbrush and brush my teeth, and I think that ends it. Yeah. But when I came here, I remember when I came here, I worked, and the family I work for always say, Agnes, when do you visit your dentist? I'm like, dentist? Yeah. I don't have a dentist. No. Well, yeah. And then she said, how do you take care of your teeth? I said, I chew bones. Yeah. And
which is not good for you. Let me just say.
Really?
No. It can damage your teeth, lead to a fracture. Yeah.
No, that, and I said that for a joke.
Yeah.
And gradually I saw that, like, here you have a dentist, and somebody to look at your teeth, somebody to look at your eyes. And I'm like, especially when I had my daughter here, then she was put on these programs, and I began to appreciate that, there is the need for it, but there's so much ignorance in our community, there is. And it is because of our background.
Yeah.
Aren't we lucky that we don't have any dental issues?
Oh, I count my blessings every day. And the thing is, I'll even be honest, I have quite a few fillings in the back, but I was lucky enough to be able to access dental care before they got worse. But it's because I was ignorant to it as well for a long period of time, to the point where I let it get to cavities, but I haven't had one in years. My dental health is phenomenal now, of course. But it's common. It's very common.
This is good. Yeah. Guys, if you've just joined us, we are almost running to a close here. I'm bringing Olga back. The reason why I want to have her in our studio is because we reach out to a lot of immigrants, parents and kids, and seeing her doing so well, becoming a dentist in our community, makes me so proud, and that is why we brought her here. If you need more information, this is Sizwe podcast, and let's grill her with questions. Let's bring her to our schools, our church, our Sunday schools. Let her be a source of morale for most of the children that are growing up. Seeing her tells them that yes, they can also do it. And in the next 5 years, if we have 10, 20 of her in the school of dentistry, we haven't done much yet. Let's keep encouraging her. And Olga, she has done a lot of community work, volunteering. That's how I met her. And she's ready to come into your church, your program, your school, to talk to your youth. This is Sizwe Podcast, and I just spoke to Olga Loggale, a doctor of dentistry student from University of Alberta. My name is Agnes, and we'll be bringing the curtain to a close here. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much for having me. This was amazing.